Bill Boshears here on this end. Welcome to the Scizone tonight. From now to about 12 o'clock, we've got some news, some information, and a lot of exciting stuff about things going on in your universe. First thing, good book. If you haven't had a chance to catch it. Her name is Naomi Wolf, The End of America. I found out about this book probably a year ago. I had interviewed her, and I got wind of it today, of that interview, and I came into it, found the book. You cannot stop reading it. The End of America, it's a letter warning to the Patriot community. It was published by Chelsea Green in late September. You need to get it. Her name again is Naomi Wolf. Do we have her book up there? We have a picture of her book and Naomi's picture and all that stuff. We'll show it. There's Naomi. The End of America. Now, this young lady knows her apples. She has done her homework in this. And on Google Video, you can go check her out. She does a lecture, and she mentions everything that's in that book. I spent the better part of the day going over it. I'm telling you, it is worth your read. I don't know if it's at any of the bookstores. I don't know if it is or not. They sent me a review copy, and I'm not going to let anybody borrow it. How's that? No, that's where that's at. Tonight, looking at a lot of interesting things. Last night, we did a show on WDJO, I guess that's WDJO, yeah, and 1160 AM, and had a lot of fun with people doing a lot of the stuff that we do here. And today, as you might guess, an email comes in this is from Todd and Linda. Caught your show last night on 1160. Can you do that on TV Saturday night? Yes. And we'll do some of that later on this evening to give you a chance at it. So if you've got questions about you personally, and we'll explain it this way. When you hear a person's voice, you do it automatically. If you don't know them, you'll study the voice. And how many times have you ever listened to a person's voice and you drew a conclusion from it, never having met them? Even to the point of whether they are laughing or not. Have you ever done that? That's what this is. And having said that, last night on WDJO, we did some of that psychic stuff and had a lot of fun. We'll do that tonight. Excuse me. On the internet, Google, you can go there. The reason we're not going to do that here is because this is just an hour show, and you need to do this on your own to get your own. Remember a few months ago we did Loose Change? Remember the movie Loose Change about 9/11 and all the things that went wrong with it and some of the things that should not have gone wrong with did? Well, Loose Change, the final cut, is out. I would suggest you go look at it, dig it up just go to Google and put in Loose Change, final cut. It'll jump up and just watch it. And then let me know what you think of it. I know I gave hundreds of copies of Loose Change away when it first came out. And I don't have any of this, but I'm here to tell you, it's got a lot of new stuff in it, and it's presented in a way that the people in it are very, very credible. So you may want to take a look at it. Now, I'm about to show you something. Here we've just covered 5 minutes of this. You are going to see something in the next few minutes that you've never seen. Now, for those of you who have a computer, I want you to go to Google Earth right now. I know you can leave the television, go over to Google Earth and turn it up. And what you're going to do when you get Google Earth up, you know what it looks like, you know how the Earth comes up? Spin it around and bring up Greenland, okay? Not Iceland, Greenland. There is an anomaly going on there that is somebody's going to have to explain or at least give us an answer to. We're always talking about UFOs. We're talking about strange things going bump in the night and all the strangeness. This is an anomaly that I suggested to some people that it was a bad piece of film. Come to find out, they don't use film. It's a digital process. It's all digital. So what you're going to see, if these guys bring this up, this is something to see. Now there, the white spot in the center of that is Greenland. And toward the center of it, down as they will bring it in, see right there beside Greenland, right beside the word Greenland is a yellow object. Now that yellow object right there that they're zooming in on for you, nobody seems to know what that is. And yet it's 79.83 kilometers long. If it's buried under the snow, I don't know. Are those clouds over it? I don't know. It's, that converts to 49.61 miles long. When I asked what it was, nobody answered me. You've just seen it. And we'll show it to you again in a little bit after the break. We'll do a break. Come back. I want to hear what you think it is. Those of you who are into UFOs and into, not astrology, but astronomy, if you've got your telescope pointed there and you've got things, and I'd like you to call me and tell me what you think it is. I'd like to hear from you. I really would. Because I don't know what it is, and I'm the first one to say that. And you are the judge, the jury, and everything else. It's an anomaly. I just call it that. It's just a yellow, and it goes, and you can see through it. I pulled it up on my computer here on Google Earth, spun it around, and literally, when you zoom into it, you can see through it. And there have been all kinds of attempts of people to tell me what it was, and I want to hear from you what you think it is. I don't know. There is another object with it that's just south of it, and it's a complete blacked out. But I would think that might be some type of dropout of maybe a bad picture of some sort. But it too is a pretty good size, and it's just blacked out. If you remember the X-Files, remember the movie The X-Files? And they were underground, and they got out of the underground, and Scully was rescued by Mueller and all that stuff, and the spaceship took off. I don't know, and that's Hollywood. I understand that. Am I trying to get you psyched up? Absolutely not. I want to hear from you legitimately what you think it is and what it could be. You want to take a pause in the action, and when we come back, we'll take the rest of the phone calls? Sure. All right, let's do that. You heard me. We'll do that, and we'll get to Pamela and John and your call. The number is 381-3838, area code 513. I want to hear from you tonight. This is your chance. I want to find out from you what it is. Right here. WBQC, it's the home of the Scizone. I'm Bill Boshears. I'll be right back. Don't you go away. Back in the Scizone, Bill Boshears with you till 12 o'clock. Thursday night, I've got some tickets to a movie called The Perfect Holiday. You'll enjoy this. It's PG. There's some brief language and some suggestive humor, as there is in most movies, thank God. It's a Christmas movie, and if you'd like to join me, go on WBQC.com, register, and we've got tickets for it. Love to see you there. We'll do it. Have you come in. Tickets for that movie, it's December the 6th at 7 o'clock at the Showcase Milford on River Edge Drive in Milford, Ohio. Love to have you. Give us a call. Now, let's go to the phones. Let's go first to Pamela. Pamela, you're on the air.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's your opinion?
Well, as a physicist, to me it looks like there's an error in the pixels along a particular line. There's a break in the image. And whether it's from the compression or just bad loading of the image, I don't know. I think it's interesting that it's such a large area of Greenland. I'd probably let Google Earth know about it. I'd send them off an email and see if they respond and repair it. It's kind of interesting because we do have a lot of military operations in Greenland, and maybe they don't want us to see something. But I do tend to think that it's just an error from the pixel line, the way it looks to me. Okay.
Have you been on your computer and go to Google Earth? Did you look at it?
Yes, I did.
Did you do the close-up thing like I did?
As best I could, yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's one down for that one. And no, I'm not going to contact Google. I'm going to let them worry about it. Somebody will tell them, I'm sure. Hey, Pamela, thanks for being here. Appreciate the call, dear.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, whoops. Let me do this. Let's go to John. John, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here, Bill.
Go right ahead.
I'd like to say it's good to see you on the air. I listen to you all the time. I would say from looking at that picture that it could be a reflection off of the horizon of the sun off the ice with the rotation of the Earth on the axis.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. That's as good as any as I've got, I'll tell you that. You think it's a reflection?
I think it's a reflection off the ice.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate it there, brother. Thank you. Reflection off the ice. I'd never thought of that. Honestly, I'd never thought of that. I didn't think of it. It's got an awful sharp line for definition, don't it? It really does. And could it be? Absolutely. It could be a reflection. I'll take it. What do I know? I'm just taking calls here. The number 381-3838. Jump in. Like to hear from you. Again, the loose change, the final cut is out there. If you haven't seen the first one, you want to go see it. If you're into the study of 9/11 and you have some questions about it, I guarantee you there's other people that it will rock your world, some of the stuff that they've come out in this final cut of loose change. If you saw the first one and you've seen the second one, give me a call. I'd like to talk to you about it and see what you think of it, okay? It's 49 miles long, a real sharp edge. My understanding of the way reflection works, I don't know just how you would reflect off of the ground like that in a straight edge. It might appear that way. And again, I don't know. Maybe it is. Well, Google's going to have to do something with it. Loose change is out. Are you going to vote? Boy, some things happening out there. You got to read the book and find out a little bit more about that voting, and you may change your mind. As I told you earlier, her name is Naomi Wolf, and The End of America. It's a letter of warning. And man, she did her homework. Kind of frightening. The number is 381-3838. I'd like to hear from you. And if you want to, since we've shown, do you guys want to show those pictures again of Greenland and give people, you can't do that. Everybody's gone home in there? Or did, oh, okay, you got it. We'll show you the pictures again and let you be the judge. Now that's the big picture all the way out in space. And the pictures comes in, and we've had one person say they think that it is a digital pixel something or other something. I'm not quite sure. There it is. That object, ladies and gentlemen, is over 49 miles long. And it's a very straight edge. As you see, you can see through it. What I did, I went to the end of it, and then I traced it all the way out. It's a continuance. It just goes on. You can follow the line and continue it. It's on Google Earth. You may have to download it on your computer. It's no big deal. It's free. And you'll be able to look up everything that's on the Earth. You'll be able to see it from space and then zoom in on it. High resolution. It's pretty good. It's an interesting thing. What I'd like to hear your comments on it. 513-381-3838. Join me. I'd like to talk to you about it. Right here in the Scizone, I'm Bill Boshears. We going to break, or what are we doing?
Go ahead, take a break.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Back. Bill Boshears here in the Scizone with me. Last night I did a radio show with WDJO 1160. Went down and had a lot of fun with them. Today I took some and I invited some of you, and you did it right on cue. This comes from this email I read earlier from Todd and Linda. Wanted to know, I heard you last night on the radio, and would you do that on TV? Could you explain psychometry and seeing at a distance that you mentioned on the air? We'll attempt to do that. How many times have you ever gone into, and by the way, if you've got a question or something you want to ask, we'll get to those in just a minute. How many times have you ever gone into, let's say, an antique store maybe, or maybe you went to a yard sale, and or there was something, you passed by a window in a department store, or maybe a used clothing store, or some store, or maybe someone had something in their home and you came in contact with it. The idea of psychometry is that there are vibrations on objects left there by the people who own them or whatever, and that energy is still there. Let me explain how we know it's still there. We know that certain kinds of energy from the human body will stay with an object for some time. Maybe it's there because of whatever. Someone who is sensitive to do psychometry will usually take hold of an object and see pictures, or have a physical impression, and they are attracted. Sometimes people clear across a room or in a gallery of some sort, they will be attracted to a specific item, and that item may trigger something emotionally in them. It's been used in murder cases. It's been used in finding lost children, and different methods throughout history. One of the things is, if you take an object, if you'll just clear your mind and let somebody drop it in there in your hand, either a pen, or sometimes I'll use a watch, an individual's watch, and then I'll hold the watch, and I'll let whatever pictures come into mind, and I will describe them. Now, oftentimes, after a period of time, I've had people say, nope, not me, that's not me, it can't be me. Only to come back in a few weeks or a few days later and go, you know, you were right. That was what I was thinking, that was what, and it did happen, this, that, and the other. That's psychometry. Sometimes you'll usually get 2 or 3 stages of it. If the person is standing in front of you, you may pick up their most intimate thoughts. If not, if it's an antique or something, you may pick up or see images of that and how it was used or who had it. And my favorite place to go and do that is England or in Europe, and to psychometrize furniture or to take hold of jewelry and to see. I don't like to buy used objects like that. I don't buy them. And psychometry is one that plays into an event. Now, first let me explain something to you. Once you start this is not something that you just walk away from. Your whole body comes into play and becomes attuned to it. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like, boy, this was a mistake? Or you went into the room and became elated, not knowing why you felt the way you did? Or you became apprehensive. Sometimes people become apprehensive in a strange environment because they don't know what's going on, or it's a new environment. The kind of feeling that I'm talking about is where you have a dialogue, usually with yourself, and it's telling you, you need to leave here. And it's not so much telling as it is something that's sort of pulling you or getting you to go a certain direction in or through this. Sometimes people equate it to deja vu. Having been here before, they'll say, gee, I seem to recognize this place. I seem like I know this place. Has that ever happened to you? If it has, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. 513-381-3838. And if you've got a question that you want an answer to, I'll listen. When I hear your voice, I need to hear your voice, and I'll tell you what I sense. By the way, you've got a job coming up, and you were wondering about that. You'll have a job before the end of this week. This week coming up. I'm sorry, I was talking to somebody off camera here, and I'm sorry I turned my head away from the mic. Did you hear what I said? Or you didn't hear? Kind of didn't? Okay. My friend sitting over here, he and I were talking off camera earlier, and I got that impression. I just wanted to tell you that. We'll talk more. Anyway, those of you who have questions, we'll see if we can answer them, see if you can give you some insight to some of the things you may want to know about tonight. This is your chance. We'll do it. Let's go to Rod. Rod, you're there. Rob?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I have a question about, I wonder...
Sir, speak to me in the phone. Well, I don't guess he wanted to speak. I guess he wanted to play games. If you want to call back, Rob, we'll do that, too. Who we got on line 2? Judy. Judy, you're there. Go ahead.
I just stopped talking to him. He should be there.
Is he there now?
On 2?
Yeah, on 2. That's Judy on 2, isn't it?
Yes.
Judy, are you there?
I'm here.
Go right ahead, dear. You have a question.
Okay, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, I'm sensitive.
You are sensitive, okay.
I am a sensitive. I've been that way all my life.
Okay.
My mother, I was the 7th child of my mother, and I was born with a veil over my face. And my mother always told me that I should be psychic. And sure enough, I am sensitive. One of the things that I really have a lot of problems with is I can walk into a room or be walking down the street, and I have a strong, nauseating smell of funeral flowers.
Uh-huh.
And within a very short time, someone that I know has passed. I don't like to go to funerals, but these are the kind of things where I feel that I have to go to the funeral for. I have a friend who I walked in her home recently, and the smell of funeral home was so overwhelming that I got nauseated. And I told her, I said, something's going to happen bad in your family. I can feel it. And sure enough, 2 days later, her brother passed away in an accident.
Judy, I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to come right back. I got to go to break. You stay right there. We'll put Judy on hold. I'm Bill Boshears. We're going to take a pause in action. Come right back with the line open. Jump in. You're up next, right here in the Scizone with Bill Boshears. Bill Boshears, the Scizone tonight. Thank you for joining me. Let's go back to Judy just a second. Judy, go ahead, dear.
Hi, how are you again?
I'm doing well. You were telling us that you have a strong sense of flowers or funeral home sense.
It's a smell. It's just overwhelming, a smell of funeral flowers, in particular carnations.
Well, one of the things that all the statistics I've been able to collect is that entities often try to, and there's a lot of correlation that goes with this that you probably know about, but entities try to contact, and that's your, I guess maybe if you want to think of it as spiritual guides or something, telling you to be aware of that kind of phenomena. You might want to, I don't know, how do you rely upon your spirit guides, or what do you do?
Well, I don't think I recognize them as being spirit guides
Really?
as much as I do just feelings that that are overwhelming to me.
Sure.
What I was telling you about is just an example of some of the things that happen to
I understand.
me.
Now,
deja vu is a daily thing for me.
A daily thing?
Yeah, feeling like I've been here before, or I shouldn't go in here.
Okay.
Things of that nature. I don't know how to explain it in the fact that it's just an overwhelming feeling that tells me to or not to.
Okay.
My children often will say to me, I'll say, I feel like something's going to happen. And it's always, oh, Mom, please don't start now. You get us all worried.
You share this without them asking for it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as you feel safe in doing that, that's great.
Yeah,
comfortable anyway.
That's the whole point, I think, about it, is I don't feel comfortable when these feelings come over me. I was watching your show tonight. I've watched it a number of times, but tonight when you were talking about this, I just couldn't help myself. I had to call.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm certainly glad you did.
And I also want to ask you about the pictures you were showing about the objects seen from space.
Yes.
Is there any word from our military or our government as to what that might be?
Surprisingly enough, Judy, no. No one has attempted to say anything about it. And as people look at it, I'm sure somebody's going to go and say, hey, what is this? And then we're going to get a long, drawn-out technical answer that is going to suffice or supposed to suffice. And then I wonder.
It's clearly some kind of an object. I wondered if perhaps it might have been a satellite or something that was between the satellite taking the picture and the Earth.
Well, if it had been, looks like we would have had a blanked out spot. I mean, if something goes between the lens of a satellite, I don't know.
I don't either.
It's an anomaly. We'll take a look at it. Somebody will let us know. Judy, I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. My pleasure. Let's go to Robert. You're on the air.
I would like to say, hey, Bill.
Hey.
Is that a reflection, possibly from the sun off the horizon?
I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. When a reflection would be like a pinpoint, this thing has a sharp delineative edge on it that's very defined, and it's multicolored in a very straight line. Down one side is it's a red, it goes from yellow to red to orange, but there is a defining line right down the side of it that is sharp as a razor. It's a straight edge of some kind. Now, I understand, I know what you're talking about. I've seen reflections off of cars and windows and stuff like that was just complete. But you can see through this reflection, if that's what it is, or this colored strip, you can see through it and see underneath of it vegetation.
can see vegetation.
You can see green vegetation underneath it. And you can see the mountain ranges and the water and everything.
Do you think that could be a sign of global warming?
You know, I don't. I first thought that perhaps it was something like that caused by HAARP over in Alaska. Maybe a test spot that had melted something.
Right.
And maybe that's what it was. But again, that's just my conjecture. I don't know.
Okay, Bill, and then on another serious side, I'd like to ask you something. If there's any viewers out there that remember in the time period from around 1975 to 1977 when Cincinnati had a large flying object that was flying super low over a bunch of area households.
I remember it. I saw it.
And it was all over the news, and it was dismissed as a weather balloon. And the
Nah, that wasn't no weather balloon.
Right.
I saw it. I saw it at 4 o'clock in the morning. It looked like a football field moving over the house.
Right. That's exactly what I seen. And it was super, super low, and it was silent.
And it just blotted out the sky.
Right.
I mean, I was in 4 o'clock in the morning. You can see some of the daylight. This thing, there's daylight, was gone.
Right. And I would also like to bring up the fact and see if any viewers seen in 2004, I was at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base with my son in famous the Hangar 13 or the Hangar 18. They opened up a hangar next to that where they have planes of Air Force One and different things like that. Me and my son were in, and we were checking out those planes. And on the way out, I saw two large flatbed trailers that were coming out of there with like two round disc-like objects on them, and they were just they were leaned sideways on the flatbed trucks, and they were covered up in tarps, and they had military escorts.
Wow!
And I followed those down 75 to approximately the Norwood lateral exit, and I never knew what happened to them after that. But the size of them was they were just huge. They were immense.
You know, I've heard other reports of that same thing that you saw.
Right.
And it was my two sons who saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
What? It just seems, that something that big could move through Cincinnati, and it was never on the news. Or
never said a word about it, never heard about it, nothing.
Right. Nothing was ever said. And at the time, I didn't have a cell phone or anything like that with a camera, so I didn't have any camera on me because I was unexpected to see anything like that.
You never did.
But I took my son there to see their UFO display that they used to have up on the top floor, which has now disappeared.
Somehow it's just not there, is it? Anyway, hey, I appreciate the call, man. That's good talk. That's like whole home week. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's take a pause in the action. Long line open. Jump in if you want to. It's 513-381-3838. Love to talk to you. Tonight, anomalies going on. We'll take a pause in the action. Come right back. I'm Bill Brewster. This is the Scizone. I'd like to remind you, we're till the top of the hour here with me tonight in the Scizone. Bill Boshears here, if you will. Reminding you that we've got tickets for a movie, A Perfect Holiday, at December the 6th. That's this coming Thursday. If you want to jump in and register on WBQC.com, we've got tickets and love to have you join. We'll have some fun over there and look at the movie. Anyway, let's go to Robin. You're on the air.
Yes, good evening, Bill.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, ma'am.
Great. I'd like to attest to something that you were discussing earlier about being sensitive to areas. Years ago, when our children were small, my husband and I were out for a drive with the children in the afternoon on a weekend and went into a park in the Hamilton area. And we got a very uneasy feeling when we came into a clearing where there was a parking lot area and so forth. There were some other cars around. People turned and looked at us as we drove up. We became so uneasy that we left immediately, and my husband kind of speeded up a little bit more than he should have to get out of there. And it was very interesting to find on the news later that evening, we heard that there was a huge drug bust with drugs, guns, everything else in that park. And I think that was why we got that feeling when we were
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. Particularly mothers and fathers who are in a protective mode. Most often when you have children, you're in that protective genre of thinking. And we've heard the countless stories that we've heard. The mother who's standing at the sink and she's washing the dishes and she stops, runs in the other room just in time to snatch the child back from falling out a window or getting into the fireplace or walking out into the street or something like that. There seems to be an unexplained phenomena there. And during the wartime, we hear of people, the mother, the sister, the brother, doing something. They're busy with their hands, and all of a sudden, they recognize that a loved one may have died. And it's a sudden feeling that they have, and I can't tell you the number of cases where that was reported. I mean, thousands of them, where people have foreseen or with no, it never happened again, wouldn't happen again, didn't want it to happen again most often, but that has happened. And you and your husband both, obviously very protective and very sensitive to those kind of things. More people should be.
Right.
I think that's a good one.
I think so, too. That brings up an interesting point, though. Do you think that's the same kind of sensitivity that twins have? Or do you think that what twins have is something that goes even beyond the feeling of a relative that someone's died in the war or something like that?
I think sometimes siblings have that. I know my sister and I have it. And sometimes once you become connected some way, and I think this is, a lot of men and women have this, husband and wives. He'll stop and buy something, come home, and it was just what she wanted him to get, or you may have had that, I don't know. But yeah, but particularly, I'll answer that affirmative. Children often have, and siblings have that. And sometimes, and most often, they don't have to be twins, but the twins go a lot further. And now that we're seeing people with heart replacements and organ transfer, organs, donations, and so forth, the people that are getting the organs are experiencing all kinds of phenomena, cravings that they never had, sudden wanting, sudden to talk about things, sudden knowledge that they didn't know they had.
Even pains that they didn't have before.
Exactly, exactly.
In other parts of the body.
Exactly, exactly. Anyway, hey, thanks for calling. Appreciate it there, Robin.
That's okay.
Gotcha.
Good night.
Let's go to Joseph. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on the air.
Hi, Bill.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for taking my call.
Glad to have you. Go ahead.
I got kind of a weird question. I guess you'd call it sensitive. I've noticed it probably since I was about 10.
Uh-huh.
I've been paying more attention to it in the past few years, and I was kind of wondering, I hear a lot of background noise throughout the day, and I can kind of tune in and hear conversations and noises and all kinds of different
Do you ever
stuff like
see
that.
things out of the corner of your eyes?
Oh, yeah, all the time, yeah.
Shadows moving in and out or something?
Yeah, and trees smiling at you and stuff like that, too. Yeah.
A tree smiling at you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
I don't see I don't think anything wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I think that's a good idea.
Well, a lot of weird stuff. I can go on and on. I take it as rationally as I can. But I know there's things out there that I don't know of. But.
Well, just relax with it, and it'll begin to reveal itself in a higher form. Don't try to figure it out. It's a beautiful gift. Don't try to figure it out. Just go with the flow.
All right.
And if I were you, I would question it in a very simple fashion. Yes or no questions to start with, and then questions, can you guide me? Can you show me this information or that information? Where would I find it? So on and so forth. That's using it now.
Okay.
All right, my friend. Let me know how it comes out for you.
Well, can I ask you one last thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
If I were to do that, how would I keep myself from being guided in the wrong direction?
Common sense.
Yeah.
You know the right and wrong, and you're there.
Okay.
And by the way, there's no mystery to this. That's a sixth sense that you've always had, and there's no mystery to it. Common sense is what it is.
Okay.
You got it, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Let's take that break. We'll come right back and get your phone call. 513-381-3838. There's a line open. Jump in right here. Bilbo Shears will be right back. Back in the Scizone with Bilbo Shears tonight. Thank you for joining me. It's a few minutes to time. I'm going to take the next call as quick as I can. This is Trudy. Trudy, how are you?
Hello?
Hello, how are you, Trudy?
Hi, Bill, remember me?
I do remember you, dear. How are
From
you?
Northgate?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm, as you can see, fit as a fiddle.
Oh, I missed you, Bill.
Well, I miss you too, dear. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm old. I'm 83 years young.
That's all
Oh,
right.
it's so great to hear your voice.
It's good to hear you,
Yeah?
too, Trudy.
How you are doing?
I'm doing well.
What else is new?
What else is new?
Yeah?
More of the same of what you knew me way back when. It's just bigger and better every year, like the World's Fair.
I'm so glad. Boy, I'm glad to hear your voice. And I hope to see you somewhere.
I'll tell you what, we'll have to make arrangements. We're going to try to start having guests in the studio. Maybe we can get some tickets to you. Maybe you can come down
Well,
sometime.
I'm 83 years young.
I
you
don't
know.
care. That's a good reason to get out.
Bill, I cannot get over that I got to you.
Well, of course you got to me.
Okay, I wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And the same to you, my dear.
And I hope to see you somehow.
You will, I promise.
Oh, you make my night and day. God bless you.
God bless. We'll see you. Take care, dear.
Yeah, you too, Bill. You remember me?
I do remember you. Yes, I do.
With a German accent.
No, that's not German. Come on.
Yeah, and you know Ruth Heineken lives in Florida.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care,
God
my dear.
Bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boy, that's a voice out of the past, let me tell you. Let's go to Randall. You're on the air, sir.
Hi, Bill.
How you doing, sir?
You've become a Saturday night habit with me.
I'm absolutely glad about that.
I am,
sir.
too. What I wanted to tell you, back in '78, I lived in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
I sent my mother to southern Georgia to be with her mother who was in the hospital. We went from Bingo to the airport and put my mother on a plane. She turned around and looked at me, and I knew she would never be coming back home. They called me from Georgia. My mother died an hour later, and Grandma an hour after her.
Wow.
That was a hard one.
But
I just knew that she wouldn't be coming back home to Portland.
You know, I picked my mother up and brought her home with me.
Yeah.
And later on, we talked about this many, many times. I've never shared this publicly. The doctor said if you hadn't picked her up and brought her with you when you did,
yeah,
she might have passed away by herself.
Right.
And I was so glad, but it was strange. When I remember after we talked, I said, come on, go with me. I had this relief. It was such a relief to have her with me.
Right. Well, my mother died in my arms. I got there in time for that. She recognized me for a flash, few seconds, and said, what are you doing here? I said, because I love you. And then an hour later, Grandma died. And, of course, the Catholic Church, I'm not Catholic, but they teach more about saints and angels.
Sure.
I went to, and I told him everything I did for Mom and Grandma and my aunt and everything. He says, look at it. Your mother went so Grandma wouldn't be afraid. She was there waiting for her. And that,
good point.
And a year later, I went to shave in the same apartment we had lived in, and there was Mom in the mirror smiling back at me, letting me know she was happy.
God, love it. And that's a great story. Appreciate it, Randall.
And also, one thing, what is your feeling? Tomorrow will, how do I put this? my goals be accomplished for where I'm going.
There are two other extenuating circumstances that will extend from that will carry over to the week before it's completed, sir. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
See you next Saturday.
You got it, my friend. Let's quickly go to Tina. You're there. Tina, I got just a couple of minutes. Go, quickly.
I was wondering if anybody's seen any aircrafts over in Blanchester and Wilmington.
Yes?
Because there's always, it looks like UFOs flying through there.
I saw some last night.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one who sees that stuff.
Did you see that? It looked like a triangle flying over there.
Yeah, and there's always, we go out there, and there's, probably 20 of them up there, and they shoot really fast across the sky, and they look like they're going to hit each other.
Why don't you take some pictures of that?
Actually, I should. I've thought about it.
Why don't you take a videotape and get it to me when you do, all right?
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We got time for a quick one here. We got 1 minute. You're there. Sabrina, go ahead quickly. Hello. Well, Sabrina got the chance to play that. I'm Bill Boshears. This is the Scizone. It's usually about the strange and the unexplained, but most often it's about you. I'm glad you could join me this week. If you'll go to WBQC and register, we've got tickets to a movie. I'd like to share that with you and be a part of your evening. This Thursday evening, join me. Get on WBQC. We'd like to have you. In the meantime, we're here every Saturday night, and next Friday night, I'll be on WDJO. It's 11:60 a.m. We're going to do some more of this. Had a lot of fun there last night with the audience, and we'll have some with you there then. Take care, stay safe, but above all, this is the time to really think about it's okay. We were just talking about this. Please, if you see me, say Merry Christmas, because that's what I'm going to say, and I'll say it early, Happy New Year, right here from me to you in the Scizone and WBQC. See you next week.